Will Grant is a professional BMX racer and bodybuilder who sustained some horrific knee and shoulder injuries through his racing career, which crippled him for a very long time. It wasn't until he discovered the use of breathing techniques like Wim Hof, meditating, fasting, and these strategic muscle balancing techniques that we talked about. He's not only been able to heal his body 100%, but he's back to racing bicycles professionally again. So if you are even remotely interested in optimizing your mind and optimizing your body, this podcast is definitely for you. Talking. Here we I'm not very good at it, which is why I started doing this.
Really?
I suck at talking. This is like just like a challenge for me. I think we got the same watch, except you have a gold one.
$12 on Amazon?
10.
Oh,
I think you paid 2 extra because yours is gold, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, is it the Casio?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. This shit's sick.
Yeah, it sucks.
So, all right. So for people out there who don't know who you are, just give me sort of like a brief introduction to who is Will Grant.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
I mean, aren't we all? But
yeah, always.
Who is Will Grant? I mean, I could tell you a little backstory, I guess. I was born in Washington State. I moved here when I was like 8, 9 years old. With my mom, my brother, a couple dogs, a bunch of cats, like, dude, in this tiny little U-Haul truck. It was a 5-day drive. And we got here, and, I mean, honestly, my mom was, like, addicted to hella drugs. Like, that's
really?
Dude, that's a huge reason of what got us to Florida. Because, like, in 99 to 01, that's when Florida was getting in all that trouble for, like pill mills. Like, they were just giving out like oxycodone and all those drugs from the doctors. Like,
yeah, that's what Florida's famous for.
Yeah, and we lived out in the middle of the woods. Like, it took us probably a half hour to get to the closest gas station.
Holy fuck.
So my mom broke her back, and then she had some family here from Brooklyn, and plus, like, she knew about the care here. So yeah, we ended up moving to Florida then and started racing BMX when I was like, I think 10 or 11 years old. My brother actually got me into it. He was stealing everybody's bikes around the whole neighborhood, like bringing all their bikes, taking them apart, spray painting them, and then like selling them back to people. And like, he was talking about getting into racing, and I was just 3 years younger, wanting to do what my big brother did. And
that's awesome.
But except I had a dad. He didn't really have a dad. My dad bought me a bike for Christmas. And
you guys, what, step brothers?
Half
brothers?
Yeah,
half,
so we're half brothers. Like, I have 2, but we don't call each other half brothers. You know,
right,
my mom told us from a young age, like, hey, you're full brothers. There's no such fucking thing as half brothers. You know what I mean? So like, so we were raised thinking like we're all we got. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So yeah, and then I ended up getting a bike. Actually, it was for my birthday. And then. So yeah, I was living with my mom, and then when I was like 10, my dad said that I can move in with him and pursue BMX like full time as like a 10-year-old, you know. So like I left the trailer park. I moved in with my dad, who I thought had all this money, all this opportunity, and we traveled around the world really racing BMX. And then when I was 15, dude, it was tough living there, man. It really was. It was actually a lot tougher living there than my mom's house. And at 15, I ran away. I just said, peace, see you later. And
you just ran away?
Yeah.
Why?
I felt like I could do it better on my own, man.
Yeah?
Like, yeah, honestly, like, dude, I mean.
At 15?
Dude, at 15 years old, like, I moved in with my dad to race BMX, you know, for this, like, opportunity to, like, really race BMX. That's all I cared about. You know, I was young and crazy anyways. And then, I mean, I was getting in so much trouble all the time. Like, he was so strict with everything to where, like, he would get home and there was, like, crumbs on the table for me making a sandwich, and I get the shit beat out of me, you know? Like, dude, he would check my homework every single night, and if I had, like, a letter that was a little slanted to the left, he'd make me rewrite my homework 25 times, and then he'd find another letter that was messed up, and then I would be writing the alphabet for hours every night. Like, he would walk up, and if my shoes weren't tied enough, he would flip me over and say, what's wrong with you? You can't tie your shoes, little boy? You know what I mean? And then, like, it just kept, like, small things where I couldn't do anything. Like, it felt like I was living in prison, you know? Like, all I was really allowed to do was train for BMX. And then when something happened.
He was kind of like, was he really pushing you hard on BMX? Or was it kind of like he was just supporting what you wanted to do? Or do you think that it was coming a lot from him kind of pushing you to do BMX?
It was, I wanted to do BMX.
Right, for sure.
You know what I mean? But he had the mindset as if I didn't do everything as best as I possibly could for that, then he wasn't going to take me to the races. You know, so he would come home and make sure my bike was clean, like everything around my whole life was perfect, you know, so I focused on that. But then after, when I was like 15, like I kept something small, something stupid, he just said, you're not racing anymore. And then, it wasn't a good, healthy relationship. And then once I realized I wasn't racing, like, I just left. Like, BMX was everything that was important to me. And then I was supposed to go live with my mom, but I knew I wasn't going back to that trailer park. Like, so I just left. I crashed. I had friends. I slept on their floors. I slept on couches. I slept outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I turned 16, actually, there was a family in BMX. After 8 months after running away, he heard about my situation, and he said, "Yeah, I own a business. My kid races BMX, and I'll let you live in my house if you just train my kid to race BMX." Because I was only 15, 16 then, but I was like national champion. You know, I won everything. So a lot of people, I guess, a lot of even kids younger than me looked up to me at that age. And then, so I moved into his house. He gave me 2 rules: just respect his house and stay away from his daughter. And yeah, I ended up getting engaged to his daughter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. And then I was like, I'm going pro, 16 years old. And I turned pro at 16. And then I end up tearing my ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus, everything, like 3 months into turning pro.
When you were 16 years old?
So like I turned pro when I was 16, and then like my birthday was like the next month. So then like a month after being 17, I tore my ACL. I tore everything.
So you just exploded your fucking knee.
Yeah, exploded.
Damn, dude.
I won my first pro races too.
Fuck.
And then it took me a year to get that healed. And then my first race back, didn't even crash. Put my foot down, retore everything. Like,
oh my.
Well, yeah, dude, because I was a minor. You know, with free insurance comes free doctors, and with free doctors comes some guy that's just rushing and hacking up your body. You know, so I didn't even crash. I just, I did physical therapy perfect and everything, but I just put my foot down and it retore everything. And then at that time off, I became a personal trainer. You know, like I wasn't able to race, so and I had this passion for fitness. I had this passion.
That's when you were like
health.
A bodybuilder, right?
Yeah, when I was during that 2.5 to 3 years that I was injured, I just started training my upper body as much as I could, and I was still keeping my legs fit as much as I could, because I was doing trying to strengthen my leg and doing my own like physical therapy for the knee. But
it's hard to do leg training when you have a fucked up knee, right?
Well, yeah. So when I became a personal trainer, like the first surgery I got because I was a minor, so I got the free insurance. But then after that, I was 18, and the only way I could get individual insurance to get my knee fixed was I had to have a job that offered the insurance. So I became a personal trainer at a gym. I did there 3-4 months so I can get their insurance.
Yeah.
And then I found the best doctor I could. But then at that time, I was a personal trainer. I thought I knew everything. I was the shit. I don't need no physical therapy, So I started doing my own like training for my legs to build up my strength, and I thought I knew what I was doing, and I ended up building up a lot of bad habits of movement to where like I had all these imbalances, so when you have a surgery or when you have any trauma to your body, there's muscles that get extremely tight to protect, and there's muscles that turn off. And then physical therapy is really meant to rebalance your muscles, to turn on those muscles and to relax the muscles that are too tight.
Why do you think your muscles were so out of balance? Was it because of the bodybuilding, or was it because of the BMX?
So after that second surgery on my ACL, I did all my own physical therapy, and I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, like I just went right back into training instead of fixing the issue. Right. It's like any problem that you have. Like if you just try to mask the symptom, it's going to cause bigger, different issues later on. Yeah. And that's what happened. Was like I never kind of relearned how to move properly. So then like just every little movement that I was doing, like I just wasn't using my body properly, and that's something that almost everybody's doing.
Right.
You know, like almost everybody is using their body improperly because we're a sitting culture. We sit down all day, which brings our chest, our quads, our hip flexors, everything too tight, while our glutes and our back just don't know how to activate.
Right.
So then we have all these imbalances in our body, and you know, depending on who you are is what's going to hurt first. So if it's your knees, if it's your back, if it's your shoulders or whatever it is, but it just comes from the imbalances. And then what happened to me was what would have normally happened to me if I was 40 years old. It happened really quick because I was an athlete getting injuries.
Right.
You know, but like I said, if you talk to the normal 45-year-old, his back hurts, his knees hurt, you know, his shoulder hurts, and it's just from bodies being in balance from whatever they're doing.
I just went to the chiropractor for the first time in my life, like 2 weeks ago. Like, because my lower back started really fucking hurting. I don't know why. There was no trauma. There was nothing to really explain it. And other than the fact, you know, I like go to the gym just like anybody else. I do, you know, cardio. I try to balance my workouts or whatever. But they found out, and my yoga instructor actually pointed it out, that my IT band and my hamstrings were like unusually tight. And that's what was contributing to my lower back being in so much pain. So now I've been like using what do you call it, a tennis ball to like roll out my legs a lot more, and like focusing on that. And that's really, it's helped a lot.
Yeah, really good stuff, dude. Like, just imbalance is what all those pains are. And you know, and it's the way we're living, really. You know, like with the way we're moving and using our body, and even like the way we're moving and using our mind is just not really balanced with the way it should be. So it's causing like chipping or pain in some way. But
at what point, when I saw you the last time, like I said earlier, the last time I saw you was at Josh's wedding. And I asked you what you've been doing, and you said that you don't work. You're like, I don't work out my upper body anymore. I just do legs. All I do is legs, and it just, the rest of it works itself out.
Yeah.
Like, I work out my legs, and it makes my arms strong. I'm like, how? What were you doing at that point?
So then I was just training like full athlete for BMX. You know? And like, and yeah, I really wasn't training my upper body, like going into the gym and doing bench. But I mean, dude, if you're doing like compound movements, like deadlifts, like power cleans, you know, front squats, like you're bracing, you're using your body,
using every part of your body.
Like you're using your body the way it's supposed to, as one full moving piece, not necessarily targeting your chest or targeting your back. And then I still had that muscle tone when you seen me, because from like 16 to 22 I was lifting my upper body like a bodybuilder trying to get jacked for the honeys, you know. But then and then when I was just racing for those from pretty much when I got back to like 21 to 25, I mean, I was training hard, not necessarily the smartest way to train, you know. Like I should have had a coach, you know what I mean? You know, like I should have hired somebody who was smarter than me, but it's hard to learn when you know everything, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And I was in that mindset of like, dude, I was the shit. I knew everything, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I spent my whole life like building up my ego and to make myself seem as great as I possibly can. And then,
well, how could you be a fucking bodybuilder doing bodybuilding competitions and like without a massive ego to accompany it?
It's tough. It's tough. Like,
how could you?
You have to align your purpose with something else, which I definitely wasn't. You know, like I was trying to get as jacked as possible to get, like, you know, people feel like they care about me or they love me, or like, you know, to get that value in in
most
myself.
kids. I mean, most kids that age group are doing that
for sure. And like my whole entire life, Danny, my whole life, I put all the value in myself and what I could physically do and what I physically look like. Like, and that's what I put all my value in, and that's what I work towards. And then when, dude, I lost all that, you know, then all of a sudden my body started breaking down. My mind started breaking down. Like what I did when I was 21, 22, wasn't still as cool anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and even my racing, like I wasn't getting the best results, you know. My career in BMX was just getting like worse and worse, and like I was getting less and less relevant, and like all this stuff that I put this value in was just dwindling away. And then all of a sudden my body started breaking down. Like, I mean, I'm talking, I had so much pains in my bodies, from my ankles to my knees to my hips to my back. I couldn't even open my hands all the way. And it's just from like, I was going hard too, like not just in BMX, but just in my life and partying and, you know, like in all this stuff. Like I was going so fast and so hard in my life. And like the more pain I felt physically, mentally, emotionally, you know, the faster I went, you know, because I noticed when I started slowing down, I started feeling that pain, if it was mentally or physically or whatever it was. So I would just try to go as fast as, do as much as I can, and then it was just causing more chipping of my body, of my mind, and then it took to the point where everything literally broke. I broke my leg, you know, my whole knee exploded, my femur cracked, like, dude, my collarbone broke. Like,
was the femur crack, was that in a bike race or a bike accident?
So, not necessarily, but it was in training, like in practice.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Like,
so it was on a bike.
Yeah. So, so let me get this straight to make sure I don't.
Femur, that's fucking gnarly, breaking your femur.
Dude. So I built up all these bad movement patterns, right?
Yeah.
So I had all these awful imbalances, like where I was walking like shit, I was moving like shit, and then it hurt so bad to use my body. When I wasn't training, I was just sitting on the couch, and then it was just getting worse. And then once I started realizing like all my shit was out of balance, I started working on rebalancing it. And then when I was working on rebalancing it, you know, like starting doing yoga and starting doing movement therapy to help rebalance my body, and I started, but I never took a break, you know, like I never took a break from the training. I never took a break from the riding. I just started to rebalance something. But when something is out of whack or twist and turned, and then you align it back, but the old grooves are still there, it's going to cause something to crack. You know, it's going to cause something, because if something was moving like off balance.
Are you talking about like bones right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, or really anything.
A joint?
Yeah. Because one thing always works the way everything works.
Everything's,
right?
Yeah, right.
So if your knee is supposed to work in alignment like this, you know, and perfectly, and then if you have imbalances, it's slightly turned or just going off that track a little bit,
right,
it's going to cause potholes, it's going to cause chipping away and all this shit to chip like any machine. And then when I slowly started working at realigning that, the grooves were different. So then it caused it to crack, it caused it to explode, because I just kept riding, I kept training, so it was
like a stress crack almost.
Yeah. So then literally I'm riding in practice, you know, my knee's starting to feel funny, but I didn't want to stop. You know, like anything, when I was feeling this pain, I was Mr. Tough Guy. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't admit I felt any pain because I'm tougher than that, or I thought. And then I just kept riding, and then all of a sudden it just like exploded. And dude, what was crazy was when it exploded, like all of a sudden it hurt so bad to walk. Just to put my foot on the ground, I was in so much pain, and I didn't know like what was going on. You know, I was like, oh, this is gonna buff out, you know, but 2-3 days later, it didn't buff out, and it was getting worse and worse. Like, I literally couldn't put my foot down, you know, without like just excruciating pain in my knee. And I'm thinking like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And then Hurricane Irma came. You remember the big hurricane?
Oh yeah,
Irma?
I fucking remember that shit.
Yeah, so
gnarly.
Hurricane Irma came, and we lost power for like 2 weeks, and then
that sucked.
And that's when I fasted. That's when I did that 8-day fast.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
what now? What? I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to jump ahead, but I want to get into fasting. We don't have to get into it right now, because this is obviously happening way before Irma.
Dude,
the knee stuff, the thing with your femur.
Well, dude, my femur broke like a week before Irma.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So while I was riding and training, like pushing through all this pain that I was dealing with, like my knee exploded, and then Irma came.
Okay.
Right. And then Irma was the big hurricane that hit Florida, and we lost power for 2 weeks. And then it's weird. I kept hearing about these small things of like how fasting helps heal your body.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like, and then I was hearing that it just helps like rebuild your cells. You know.
Yeah. Where'd you hear it from?
Like, dude, I'm just around it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm around health people all the time. But like, I originally, like, who was telling me the most about it was actually my old racing buddy, Mike Caldwell. He used to live with me.
Okay.
You know, and like, dude, he tore apart his body where his whole, like, adrenal fatigue got so gnarly, like his whole body shut down. So he had to rebuild his whole entire body. And like, he was telling me how fasting is literally like the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
But then I just could never have time to fast because I was too busy training so hard, you know, and like, you know, dude, it's hard to train if you're on, you know, like, you can't train if you have an empty stomach like that, like, not over days and days.
Right.
So then, dude, Hurricane, I had no power. The only thing open was McDonald's.
Yeah.
I couldn't ride. I couldn't train because I can't freaking walk.
Yeah.
And then, and I couldn't get a doctor's appointment because everybody was out of power.
Right.
So I was just like, all right.
What a weird time that was, dude, with Irma. The whole town was like a fucking ghost town. It was weird, right?
It was crazy.
It was like eerie.
Yeah, dude. And I'm just sitting in my backyard, like, dude, full hunger mode, like, dude, reaching different levels.
So at what point did you decide to fucking fast? Like before the hurricane got here or after you lost power?
Dude, the hurricane got there and then we all lost power, and the only, like, dude, everything just set up perfectly to where, like, the only thing that I could have eaten was McDonald's.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you're like, fuck it.
Yeah. So then, like, I was like, dude, my knee's fucked up. The only thing to eat is McDonald's. I can't get a doctor's appointment. Like, I'm just going to try 24 hours. Right. Mm-hmm. And then the goal is to do 24 hours. And after I hit 24 hours, I woke up the next day and I'm like, shoot, I think I can go 2 days. You know?
Yeah.
And then during the 2 days, my buddy Mike Caldwell was telling me, well, shoot, you know, if you hit 3 days, your body has already rebuilt its whole entire immune system.
Right.
And I was like, I'll make 3 days.
Hell yeah.
Right. So then
you went for it.
Yes. So then I made 3 days. And then he's telling me, you know, after 3 days, when your body rebuilds its whole immune system, then that's when it really uses all of its resources on rebuilding all of your cells and rebuilding your cartilage and just regenerating your whole body.
Yeah, it's like being born again, right?
Yeah. So then I went and I just kept fasting, and then I couldn't get a doctor's appointment either. So then and then he was telling me after like 6-7 days, like, dude, it starts getting like spiritual, like this different level of perception, this different level of understanding. And like what it's from is like your body, or most of us, our bodies and our stomachs are always working on digesting because we're eating all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Other than the first hour or so that you're awake, your body is using most of its resources on digesting food.
Right.
So it's truly amazing what your body can accomplish when it's not working on digesting food. Like all of our organisms and all of our biology and our chemistry and our physiology wants to fight for health. So when it's not being preoccupied by all this bullshit that it has to digest, it instantly goes into just start healing and rebuilding and cleaning, and we have all these toxins that are in our body.
Yeah.
Every time that we eat a bad food or breathe shitty air or breathe in exhaust fumes or even have a bad emotion, you know, if somebody cuts you off on the side of the road and you think, oh, fuck that guy, that just produces toxic chemicals that are released inside your body.
Right.
And we're 75% water, and that's where they all sit. You know, and like all of these emotions sit in our body as like toxic, you know, whatever. So just for our body to start cleaning that out, dude, you feel it, you smell it, you taste it. You taste all these toxins just releasing your body. Like you smell bad, like you taste it. Like after 3 days, like, you know, going to the bathroom is a lot different too. Like it just gets empty, and like you're seeing this nasty stuff that's in there.
Did you have the mucoid plaque come out?
Dude, like it's hard to tell.
The shit
you know
that
what I mean?
lines,
like,
you know, there's the stuff that lines inside of your guts.
Yeah, dude.
It's like old sewage, like old plumbing.
It looked like it, yeah, but like I mean, I didn't like, you know, analyze it. You know,
how many days did you do?
8 days.
Holy shit,
dude! I did 8 days, and this is what's crazy. You know, and this is not like scientific fact, but they say that like about a 1 day fast will clean out about a whole year's worth of toxins. Okay.
Wow.
So like if you don't eat for 24 hours, your body cleans out about all the bullshit that you've given it for the past year.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not sure if that's science, you know, but that's just what I've heard, right? And then they say, so if you went through some big like trauma, especially big emotional trauma that might have caused a lot of toxins, you almost regrow through that while you release that. So for example, if your mom died like 4 years ago, on that 4th day, you start having those emotions come up. You know, and you're releasing those emotions. You're learning from those emotions. Like a crazy thing is going on there. And like, it's really hard to explain unless you experience it. But what's crazy is after 8 days, I weighed the exact same weight as I weighed 8 years prior. And something like all of me running away from home and all that craziness that happened when I was like 15 years old was about 7 years prior. And I re-felt all that going on. And then afterwards, I never felt so like clean, so pure. Like my understanding, my paradigm just felt almost better than it ever was. But when I first broke my fast, I honestly was thinking, what the fuck, where are my superpowers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I heard about all this crazy, like, dude, I just fasted for 8 days. Why don't I feel like Jesus?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
did you have any kind of like peak state that you were in during the fast?
Dude,
was there any point where you did feel like Jesus, or felt like you could fucking do anything, or felt great? Anything notable? Or?
You never quite really feel great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you're diving into such a deep depth of yourself. You're learning what the fuck you went through. You know, like fasting is, you'll learn so much. You learn more from an empty stomach than almost any other thing on this planet.
Yeah, food is the number one drug that we're addicted to.
Dude,
it's worse than detoxing off of probably any drug. Food is probably the hardest thing.
You're so right. And you know, and when you can abstain from food, you gain this inner sense of power, this inner sense of strength that you take in all different areas of your life. When I was younger, I grew up so poor, so hungry, to where like food was something that when you had to get as much as you possibly could the second you got it. And I had this really bad relationship with food. Every time I was hungry, I remember growing up poor and I got upset. You know what I mean? And then it built all these more toxins. That's within my body. But then as you work through this and you start fasting, like your perception of food changes. Like you learn that, okay, like I went 8 days without eating. I've only, if it's lunchtime and my body's feeling hungry, my relationship is not like, oh my God, I have to eat right now and get as much food as I can. But I'm more in control over those urges 100%. And then now it's like, if there's bad food and I want it, I choose to, instead of like having no control to where I need that bad food. And that is one of the biggest strengths that helps you with all different areas of life. It's food, sex, drugs.
Yeah. Anything. You learn a lot about discipline when you try to fast for that long, especially. And, it's weird. It's like the way I felt. I did a 5-day fast about a year ago. And on the 4th or 5th day, I was playing basketball with my buddies. And like normally if I play basketball, it's high intensity. You're running around full court. And usually after like one game, on the second game, I start to feel like that side stitch where I got to take a break, or I'm winded. I got to take a break. I got to breathe. I got to drink water. I swear we played probably 4 games back to back and I felt no fatigue. It was weird, dude. I'm doing like high intensity cardio running, and you're probably not supposed to do that. It's probably not smart to do while you're fasting.
Dude, that's rad.
But like I had no fatigue. I didn't get that side cramp I normally get. And then I went to the gym, and I can normally do, I'm a pussy. I can do maybe 8 pull-ups on normally, like just per one set of 8. Yeah. I could do like 20, dude, no lie. It was so weird. I could not explain it, how on a fast I could have so much more endurance.
Yeah.
But then I listened to a podcast, a Tim Ferriss podcast, where he interviewed, I forget the guy's name, Dr. Dominic something, South Florida doctor who studies fat, like really studies nutrition and fasting. And he talks about like the ketones in your blood and how, like our ancestors, when we used to hunt food, old human monkeys, that we would have to go, 7 to 10 days before we would eat. And
that's when our mind and body has to be working at its best.
Right.
Because we have to find food.
Right. And at the 7th day, 10th day you haven't eaten, how are you gonna stalk down your prey? How are you gonna chase down whatever the fuck it is you're trying to eat? And you have to have energy. So those ketones that are in your blood after you haven't eaten for so long, the way it breaks down, I don't know, I can't remember exactly the science of it, but the ketones in your blood basically give you a longer sustained amount of endurance.
Yeah, it's a different type of energy.
It's a different type of energy, and it lasts longer. It's crazy, dude. Exactly. It's fucking gnarly.
And I think like we don't activate that or get into that much because of our modern day lifestyles.
Oh, for sure.
Food is always being available.
For sure.
Like we lose so much of our inner powers and inner abilities and strengths because we kind of donated away to these modern technologies.
Yeah.
Just
building discipline is huge.
That fast was definitely by far one of the best things I did in my life, because I needed to get all that toxic emotion, that toxic bullshit out, especially in my early 20s. I was sick in the head. You know what I mean? Like there was something wrong with my head. I was living not the way I should, just doing fucked up shit, like living a toxic lifestyle. And then to get all that shit out of me and then almost like you said, like being reborn. To where like I didn't feel like anything was crazy that first few days, but it all started settling in where I just felt better in my body. I felt like a better understanding of everything.
Did you work out or do any kind of exercising when you were fasting?
I couldn't because my leg
was
broken.
Nothing. Like you couldn't do like any kind of like pull-ups or push-ups or anything?
No.
Didn't do anything. Okay.
No, because I was actually healing from a broken collarbone too.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, you were jacked up.
Oh, dude. So like I was fucked up, man. Like I was stuck in my house. I couldn't raise my arm above my head. I couldn't walk. Like, dude, I couldn't do it. And it was the best thing that could happen to me, because it was the only thing that had me slow down. You know, like it was the only thing that slowed me down, that had me stop to start processing all this shit that was going on. You know, to get myself outside of myself and to start, you know, seeing what is going on, because I was going so fast, you know, like the dust would never settle, so I could never see what exactly where I was and what was going on. And then when I slowed down and stopped, everything became real and started speaking to me, and then I had to stop and listen. And then that's when I started meditating and breathing.
Really?
Everything changed.
That's when you found out about Wim Hof?
Dude, yeah. Like everything changed. Like I saw
you went to Switzerland and you got in some cold water.
Yeah. So that was pretty sweet too. But like, so that summer was, I think it was summer 2017 when I started doing, like, when I did the fast, when I did the Wim Hof, and like, so I broke my collarbone. I was healing from the broken collarbone, and I got cleared to start riding 3 days into it. Like, and during that time that I was healing from my broken collarbone, that's when I did a lot of the realignment therapy with my body. And then 3 days into training, that's when my knee exploded, and then that's when the fast happened. But but that summer is when my brother, you know, I was trying to find other ways to train, other ways to better myself, to make myself great, you know, and I couldn't train myself physically because my whole body was shutting down. And then that's when I kept hearing things about meditation, you know, and I was understanding that, well, like, if physical exercise is the way to train your body, meditation is the way to train your mind. And I never done that before, but I knew I needed it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then, you know, I would meditate here and there, and like never consistent, but I knew when I did it, it felt good and it was helping for sure. I just could never like build a habit of it. And then when my brother told me about Wim Hof, I got back from Washington State that summer, and I was like, I'm going to do this every single day. And then that week was the week that my leg broke, and then I did the fast. But I was doing the Wim Hof like every single day, and my whole body, like I was starting to get outside of myself, like get outside of my ego and see myself from outside of myself. Like, look, you just lost everything you put your value into yourself. Where are you at now? Yeah. Like your best thinking got you here. You know what I mean? Like you don't have nobody around you. You're sitting here miserable. Like you're lost. Like, dude,
were you living by yourself? Were you alone, or would you have roommates? Or
I was alone.
Really?
Like I have a roommate, but I think he was racing in Europe at the time, or something, or like he was out of the country, or you know, or out of the state or something. But yeah. It's crazy. And then I started breathing.
There's something about that, being alone by yourself, and being miserable.
Dude, 100%. Like that's when you're going to grow and learn the most, dude. And that's what happened. Like, dude, I just started blocking everything out and connecting with my breath. And then our breath is our spirit. Like, that's our doorway into everything internal. Like every emotional pain, every emotional joy, every physical pain and physical joy, like, you know, the doorway in to understand that is through our breath. So then when I just started connecting with my breath, I was connecting with myself. And then I started realizing that I put all this value in trying to make myself a badass, and I really ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, after all this, like, I realized I ain't shit, because like I ain't doing nothing for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like what am I contributing? What value am I bringing? Right. And then when I looked, like, I realized, dude, I've been doing all this for what? For nothing. And then that's when everything changed. You know, I started starting to put things into other people, and then, you know, the more I started helping out, you know, like the people closest to me, like the better I felt. Like, energy is energy, right? So if they say that you become an average of the top 5 people around you, like, if you can just help out, you know, the people closest to you, it's gonna make you feel better, you know. And if you want to help out, you know, the people closest to you, if you just help yourself and make you better, it's gonna help the people around you. Yeah, exactly. And then when I began breathing, and then that's what, for the first time, I was able to stop and like understand what was going on, like understand this pain, understand these emotions, understand all this bullshit I went through as a child, you know, instead of just blocking it out and trying to go so fast so I didn't hear it. Yeah. You know, I began to listen to it and like understand, you know, the depth of my self and my personality and my purpose. And, you know, and then I started like, and the more I became in tune with myself, you know, the more I started understanding why I'm here, you know, and what my gifts are and what my talents are, and like how I can really use these to contribute to society, to the world, to the people I care about. And that's when I created this whole plan, and I've been going at it ever since, hard for like 2 years.
So what do you actually do with breath? Like, what do you do with like, what is your, like, the
just
breath work that
breathe,
you do?
Man.
Yeah, but when you sit and focus on, you obviously meditate while you breathe.
Yeah.
So what's like the actual, it's just like the big in and then like the push out, like the
there's a million ways to do it, you know, but the simplest way to do it is to stop, set a timer for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you have, and just feel your breath. Start breathing and notice the feeling of your breath going in and notice the feeling of your breath going out. And like normally after a few breaths, then your mind will go towards this, you know, or go towards what you got to do later, or go towards what happened.
Right.
Just notice that, let it go, and connect back to your breath.
That's the mindfulness of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that act there of just noticing where your mind went and bringing it back to your breath, that's strengthening your awareness. That's strengthening your self-awareness. That's strength and knowing where your mind is going.
Yeah.
And that's the practice of being present.
Right.
You know, and the more present you are in everything from you're doing, from a podcast to making a movie to having sex to a relationship, you know, the more present you are, the better you're going to be doing at it.
Not so much when sex. I figure sex helps me more when I try to get myself out of the moment. So that way I last like an extra 30 seconds. Let me think about a chair.
Yeah. That's true.
That way I go longer than the average 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, so then the breath. So yeah, just connect to your breath, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then you'll start to notice like the way you breathe is the way you live. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're a shallow liver, or if you're a shallow, like if you live very shallow, you're most likely going to breathe very shallow.
Right.
You know, and like when you just start connecting with your breath with no other distractions, you'll start to know where your mind goes. You'll start to know where your mind goes when you're feeling good and when you're feeling bad, and you'll know how to kind of jump into the mechanics. Like think of like an airplane, you know, like a pilot. They have all those different buttons and all those different controls to control that airplane. We have that too. We just only know 3 buttons, but we have hundreds of different buttons that
available
we
to
don't
us.
know.
Right.
Yeah, that we just don't know how to activate because we've lost through this modern day culture of inside and fake lights and, you know, nice air conditioning. Like we lose our ability to connect with ourselves and to use our tools that we have, and to connect with our breath. You start to dive into those, you know, and start to understand yourself. And the more you can do that, the better you're going to feel and the better decisions you're going to make. And then one good habit led to another, led to another, led to another. And then my whole life, my whole paradigm, my whole perception changed. And now like I've never felt better.
That's
like,
awesome.
You know what I mean? Like I've never felt more confident and faithful in where I'm at right now today.
Yeah. But for Wim Hof, isn't there a specific technique where you have to almost breathe where you feel like you're about to pass out, where you feel like really lightheaded?
Yeah. So Wim Hof is great because most of us ain't fucking breathing, right? We're barely breathing, like we're barely living. You know what I mean? Like we're hanging on.
Right. Most people haven't ever thought about
breathing.
Right. No one's ever thought about it. They just do it.
4 years ago, I never thought about my breath.
Right.
You know,
Same. Yeah.
But I never really thought about where my life was going either. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Wim Hof is getting people to breathe and breathe deep. And when you, and all it is say 30 breaths. 30 breaths of the biggest inhales you possibly can, right? Where
30.
30 to 50. Okay. Like 30 is just
a lot.
Yeah. So like after 10 to 15, your body is not used to that because your body's not used to all that oxygen because we're usually breathing so shallow, you know, unless you play sports or do some sort of training, you really don't breathe heavy that very often.
Right.
So then to start breathing in as deep as you can, all of your cells, all of your systems are being activated. They're getting woken up and they start to speak, right? And then after 30 of those deep inhales you possibly can and those exhales, you just released to your body all that toxic carbon dioxide and replaced it with this fresh new blood or fresh new oxygen, you know, straight into your blood. And then after 30 of those breaths, dude, you're lightheaded, your hands are
feel
tingling.
like shit, you're about to pass out.
Dude, you feel like, dude, this feels crazy. And then one big last breath in and let it all out and then hold and sit there.
Empty.
Yeah. I mean,
empty lungs, right?
Yeah. So just on that last exhale, just hold and sit there and witness. Be the observer. you know, and notice what comes up, because your body is going to be speaking to you, whatever it wants to say. Like, our bodies are speaking to us all day, but we don't understand the language. We're only hearing our bodies when it's absolutely screaming at us, and we don't know what it's saying. We're just like, fuck, it hurts, you know? But our bodies are speaking at us all day, and when we stop and just listen, and the more we listen, the more we can connect to that, and the more we'll be able to understand that language. And then soon as something is off, our body tells us immediately. So then it never gets too far off to where it feels pain.
Right.
You know, we can go around a lot of the suffering that we go through if we just get really in tune with ourselves and in tune with our breath and understanding, like, yeah, just what the fuck's going on. And that's with your breath. So during that time of that breath hold, dude, you start to learn about yourself, like what comes up. And then if you're timing those breath holds, like, and this is what I did was, dude, for a year or two straight, I was timing my breath holds, and I was journaling and writing all of this down to where like I had all these new ideas of this way that I was going to change my life and change my body and change everything I was doing. But it was getting mixed up unless I started documenting it. So I started documenting my breath holds. And then after doing that for a while, you start to really notice when your times were really good, you know, like when you could hold your breath a lot and when you can't, you know. And there's a few things that I just kept noticing, like patterns, like when I was focusing on the result or the number, my breath holds were less. But when I was just in the moment, just relaxing and let things be how they are, my times were way more. You know, like if I was doing it with other people, the more I tried to compete with the people next to me and try to hold my breath longer, you know, the worse my breaths were. But the more I sat there and thought, like, I hope he has a great time, you know, trying to give all the people around me really good energy, the better my times were. You know, and then I started taking this into my daily life, and I started realizing, like, I started learning so much about how my mind works, how my body works, and how everything is working just from connecting with my breath. Because connecting with your breath connects with yourself, and you can't understand anyone else until you first understand yourself. So your level of understanding of other people is just the level of understanding of yourself. You know, if you understand yourself on such a shallow level, you won't really be able to understand another human being.
Right.
You know, so then I just started to understand myself more, and then understanding other people more, and then understanding how the world works. And you know, and I'm still learning every day. Like, you know, I'm not saying like, yo, I figured all, you know, like,
for sure.
I'm not saying I figured all this shit out, but I'm figuring shit out every day from just connecting with my breath and just stopping and being the student of life. You know, like every single day, every experience that happens is an opportunity to learn, to help you to learn and to grow and evolve to your best self. And, you know, the more you can do that, the more you can help out the people you care about.
How often and how long do you meditate for, and how often do you do it?
Now, then, or like
currently, like right now?
So currently I wake up every day and I like to hit a 15-minute timer. Okay. You know, so usually one of the first things I do in the morning is I like to get blood and oxygen and blood flow moving throughout my body. Yeah. So I'll do some sort of breathing and some sort of movement therapy. So I like to set a timer for 15 minutes. And I say, okay, this is just the 15 minutes I'm going to use to connect with my breath and to be present, you know, and to just connect. Yeah. And I'll usually do about 3 to 4 rounds of Wim Hof, and then just regular, you know, noticing my breath until the timer goes off. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be doing Wim Hof breathing until the timer goes off. Okay. Sometimes I'll only do 2 rounds and just sit there and regular meditate till the timer goes off. Yeah. But I just have to give myself that 15 minutes. And then a lot of times I like to do a second session too in the afternoon or at night, like if it's with friends. Yeah. So like, a lot of my friends are pro athletes as well. Okay. And I got all of them doing this. Like, do you really? Dude, they do it. Like, they, when you do it and you feel it, you get it. Like, dude, your body goes to a whole different place. And like, you know, the longer that you're holding your breath, dude, the deeper you're able to go into your brainstem. Like, you're able to really activate that fight or flight to where your body can fight off the disease, fight off that inflammation. And like, dude, and the more I started doing this, like the more I started being able to control what was going on, like controlling my moods, to my immune system, to my body, to like I got to the point where I was doing it so much I could just lay there and with my mind, I mean, call me crazy, but I can consciously feel my inflammation draining through my body. Wow. You know, just laying down and doing a certain type of breathing and putting my mind to it. I can feel the inflammation draining through my nasal right into my lymphatic system, and then I could just pop my ears,
Wow.
and then drain it back down. And like, I learn all this from my breath.
Yeah.
Like all the answers that we search for, like we're all looking for something, you know,
Yeah.
like all the answers that we search for are within us. We already know everything.
Yeah.
We just don't, we're just so distracted by all the outside.
We don't listen to our bodies.
That we're not listening, you know, but all the answers are within us. We just have to stop and connect.
That's why I love fucking talking to people like you, man, because so many people are just not worried about that kind of stuff. They're not worried about how to get better or fix themselves or how to eat better or how to.
And a side of that is selfish.
Yeah.
You know,
It's what?
I said, and then a side of that is selfish.
Selfish?
Yeah, yeah. Because if you're not wanting to get the most out of yourself, like how are you contributing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what team you're on.
Right.
If that's your family, if that's your coworkers, if that your
Right.
you know, if that's your friends, like, you know, the better you make yourself, the better you can help and contribute
Exactly.
to whatever team you're on.
Right.
You know, so like I believe to not work on bettering yourself every day is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like for sure.
Yeah, and you can't really help other people until you can truly help yourself. Yeah. I think too. Once you learn how to truly help yourself and you really understand yourself.
You know, and that was something that I learned through all this. Like I realized before all these injuries, I was putting all this in and trying to make myself great. And then I realized, fuck, that was the wrong way to do this.
Yeah.
You know, then I started realizing that the more, you know, like if I wanted to be loved and valued, I had to bring value.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I started realizing that, you know, the more I help other people, then the fucking better I felt. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I believe that the most selfish thing that you can do is help out, you know, the people around you, for sure.
Definitely.
I was going somewhere else with that, but
I want to say the same thing with eating too. Like what, not only like about breathing, but with eating, what you eat is truly what you are. You're made up of what you eat.
Bro, they're finding so many different connections with your gut from your mood.
Yeah, dude, your gut is connected to everything.
It's like our brain, you know?
I don't remember who it was, but there's
it's like another brain, I should say.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. They're saying that your gut is definitely like your second brain.
Yeah.
They asked this guy somewhere in Asia who was like the oldest person ever recorded living. And I forget fucking how old it was. I think he lived to like 120 maybe. And they asked him like his last interview before he died, like, what's your secret? Right? And he goes, take care of your gut the first half of your life so that your gut will take care of you the second half of your life. That hit hard, because for me, the first half, I'm fucking half of my life's almost over. I'm 30 years old, and I never gave a shit about taking care of my gut or thought about what I ate.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, that's what got me into my whole yard project. Like,
yeah. Your fucking crazy. Yard is full of what you eat. You eat everything out of your own yard.
Yeah. So like, dude, like what's crazy is they're finding out that like our gut microorganisms and our gut microbiome is so connected to our soil.
Mm-hmm.
And like it actually works almost the exact same way. So like we have all these. So for example, a lot of people thought that, okay, if you eat a vegetable, then your body absorbs those nutrients in the vegetables, and that's how we get healthy. And just like in trees, they thought, okay, the roots of the trees absorb the nutrients in the soil, and that's what makes the tree. It's not the case. It's actually based on like millions upon billions and billions of like microorganisms of like fungi, of like this microbiome that works as like a network that has this perfect relationship that breaks down the food and feeds it to whatever we need it, just like in the soil. And I learned so much from just watching my yard grow about how my own gut works and about how everything is aligned with it. And the more that we can eat and align with our gut, the better everything will connect. So for example, we're eating so much of this industrial food from these industrial monocrops where you have like a certain vegetable or a certain fruit grown in like tens of acres with just a bunch of that, and no ability to connect to other plants or animals because they spray it with a bunch of shit too. Yeah. And that's what's
not only with vegetables, obviously like factory farming with meat, that's even worse, but the vegetables are the same way. It's terrible, dude. And this shit wasn't around in the 70s. No. I don't think it was nearly as bad as it is now.
I think it started, I don't know, maybe like the 40s or 50s when they started like industrial farming. But that's pretty much when everything started going to shit. Like, dude, cancer went up, like Asperger's, like dementia. Dude, all that stuff started going up because all this toxic pretty much the way that we're growing food. The way that we're growing our food is killing us and our planet.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And when I started to wanting to heal my body, I started to just start researching, like, what is the best nutrients I can have? Like, how am I supposed to eat to heal my body? And it just kept coming down to, of course, like, the most organic and the more naturally it's grown, like eating from the earth, like.
So are you vegetarian, vegan?
I eat meat.
You eat meat? Okay.
Yeah. I love meat. Oh, dude, I love a nice.
What's your diet like? Like, what does your diet consist? Like, what's the balance?
So the balance is I like to break my fast every day with a super smoothie.
Okay.
And that is pretty much where I just take a blender and I blend up as much of the most nutrient dense foods I can find.
Okay.
If that's from my yard, from the grocery store, whatever's in season, dude, and that gets my gut happy, dude. That helps all the bad shit that I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm a strong believer is I don't want to fight all the bad shit. You know what I mean? Because that becomes a hard battle against of this temptation of, I can't ever have chocolate again.
Right.
I fucking love chocolate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm going to focus on is just doing the good. So just to start my day with as much nourishment as possible, because most of us are overfed and malnourished. So let's, instead of fighting all the good foods that are all around us, let's start with just nourishing ourselves. So that's what I like to do is I source the best fruits and vegetables I can find. That's halfway convenient, and I blend it up and I'll break my fast with that. And then it depends on my day or like how I'm training, but usually like sweet potatoes, a bunch of vegetables, as like I really try to eat as much vegetables as I possibly can.
Right.
And then I'll take my carbohydrates like sweet potatoes or fruits based on how much energy I'm going to be giving out.
It's different for when you're doing high intensity shit like BMX.
Yeah, exactly. But pretty much, dude, like the main thing with my diet is I like to have that super smoothie to make sure that I'm just properly nourished. And, and then
it's just all vegetables in that smoothie? It's just like
a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables?
Dude, like spinach, kale, blueberries, bananas, avocados, carrots. Dude, I got moringa, katook that's from my yard. Like, dude, you
were saying something that you had like some ice cream flavored bananas or some shit.
Ice cream flavored bananas.
How the hell did you get that?
Just like
I've never even heard of that.
So just how there's like 100 different varieties of apples, there's like Granny Smith.
Yeah.
Dude, there's hundreds of different varieties of oranges. There's hundreds of mangoes, bananas.
Okay.
Dude, there's hundreds of different strains of weed. Just like there's hundreds of different strains of every plant on this earth.
Dude, I need some fucking ice cream flavored bananas ASAP.
I got bananas that taste like apples. And the most beautiful thing about bananas is, so you have one banana plant, right?
Yeah.
You plant the one banana plant. If it's happy, 9 months, it's going to give you a rack of some fruits.
Yeah.
And 4 other banana plants.
Really?
Yeah. So you cut down the one that just gave you a rack. Now you got 4 other banana plants to put over your yard, to give to a friend, to sell, whatever. So, dude, I started with like 3 or 4 different banana plants that were 4 different varieties. Now I got just a whole border of bananas where it's like constantly have one eating, constantly one fruiting, constantly.
Oh my
God.
God.
I always have bananas.
Have you ever made like any kind of video on like how you made your garden that you have where you grow everything?
Dude,
because I want to learn how to. I want to do that. I need to figure that out.
Dude, so the main thing is soil.
Just the soil,
dude. Like everything can. Like, dude, we live in St. Pete, Florida. Like, it's beautiful weather year round. Like, everything wants to grow. The hardest part about growing here is just the soil. So if you build the soil, everything, dude, all you gotta do is just plant whatever you want it to grow.
Really?
And building the soil is so easy. It's free and easy.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is call your local tree companies and ask for them to drop off their wood chips, their mulch. And that's what breaks down into the best soil, the best dirt. So
just the mulch?
Yeah. Just so for example, if you go into these forests, right? Every fall, every autumn, what happens? All the sticks and the leaves, they fall.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's what makes that humus, that microbiome, that fungus underneath. That's what breaks down into the soil.
Okay.
So when you go to like, the Northwest, like Washington State, that has like the biggest trees and the biggest forest, and if you go and they have this most beautiful soil, and it's just from years of, like, dude, it takes like 100 years for a forest to build like an inch of really good topsoil. Mm-hmm. And all that is from the sticks and leaves falling.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, and of course, like there's the nutrients from the animals dying on it.
Right,
or,
yeah, for sure.
You know, like the animals like pissing on it or whatever. But the bulk of it is what breaks down from the trees, right? And if you call a local tree company who are like trimming up the oak trees, so the oak trees are a pioneer species. They've been dialing in this climate, this soil, everything in this environment for hundreds of years or for however long Florida's been around.
Yeah.
Right. So then when you break down that tree and cut it into wood chips, that's what breaks down into that perfect soil that's going to perfectly help your plants in this climate, in this environment.
Okay.
And that's what's going to align that, kind of like your gut, that gut microbiome with everything that's going to help feed all your plants and give it that internet system where it can communicate with.
So you don't actually use dirt, you just put the wood chips down, and then how long does that take to turn into soil?
Wood chips break down into dirt.
How long does that take?
In Florida, once like 2 months of summer.
Really?
Yeah. All right, dude. So we laid like 3-4 feet of mulch.
Okay.
Right? You know, and then it broke down into like 7 inches of soil.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And like, bro, we're constantly adding more mulch because it's just like mulch is the nourishment. Mulch is the energy. You know, so you know, mulch is one, it's the carbon too.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're putting that into the soil and that process of it breaking down is what is the process that feeds all your plants.
Okay.
And that's the soil. And our guts work the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
for sure. 100%.
And that's what's crazy. Like, and then when we're eating the foods from like, you know, the soil that is around us, that's when our guts can align with our environment. We're not going to be struggling with allergies. We don't get sick because when the weather changes, our gut changes, you know, and when our gut changes, like everything changes. So we're aligned with our environment. So every time the weather changes, it's not going to get us sick.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. And dude, and it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but just putting your bare feet or bare skin on that soil is what's going to help strengthen your immune system because like, dude, we're all electric. Like all those neurons are rebalancing itself to like connect with, you know, the microbiology in you, in your gut is connecting with the microbiology in your soil.
Right.
And that's so important to just aligning ourselves with the earth. And the more we're aligned with the earth, the healthier and happier we're going to be.
And do you intermittent fast or no?
Yeah. I mean,
every day,
dude. Like all the intermittent fasting is going what 12
like
hours without eating.
14 hours, something like that.
Yeah, I do that all the time. You know,
okay.
Like, but dude, if I wake up,
I mean, do you eat the smoothie for breakfast or do you wait? Do you skip that and wait till like the afternoon? Like, do you do it like at first thing in the morning?
So I'm not like super regimen of like, okay, I gotta have this at 9:30. You know what I mean? Like, bro, if I wake up on a Tuesday and I got a big gym session that day and I want pancakes in the morning, I'm going to hit some pancakes. you know? And my roommate makes some bomb pancakes with the bananas that grow in my yard.
Shit.
Oh, my God, they're so good. Like, but then again, like, if I wake up and I got a bunch of stuff to do and I just start doing it and and that's when my mind feels like it's going to be working its best too, is on an empty stomach.
For sure.
You know,
I feel way sharper when I haven't eaten.
But then most people aren't like that because their body just isn't used to it. You know what I'm saying? So most people right away, I can't do anything when I'm hungry.
That's what they think.
How hungry I am.
Right.
But that's because their body just isn't used to being hungry.
Okay.
You know, and their relationship with being hungry is a bad relationship.
It's a negative. It's a negative thing. Yeah.
Now every time I'm hungry, I'm thinking about how my body's just healing itself. You know, it feels good. My mind's working. Like I feel great. So yeah, like. Sometimes I wait till 11 to have the smoothie, sometimes 12, sometimes 1. I go by my schedule and how I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
You know, like everything's always changing, so it's hard to have a super strict routine and everything.
Right.
And that's one thing that I learned from nature and like watching my yard grow into its own like living ecosystem is like everything on this planet is constantly changing and constantly creating. You know, it's creating new leaves, creating new feathers, creating new sticks, creating new something. So when we create, we're aligning ourselves with nature.
Yeah.
And everything is constantly changing. Like if I go out in my backyard today, it's going to be different than going in my backyard tomorrow. There's going to be different flowers, different butterflies, different leaves. You know, they sit differently. They have their own, dude, they're alive. You know? Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then, is the only thing that quits growing and quits creating is something that's dying, you know?
So I've always wanted to do that, first of all. I've always wanted to grow my own shit, but
it's way easier than you think.
I always think about it. It's like, it takes so much upkeep and so much work.
Dude, that's how if you do it the way like they teach you, like, okay, you're going to build a raised garden, you're going to plant your seeds in the spring and harvest them in the fall. Bro, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but I'm not doing that.
Well, what's your upkeep like?
Who upkeeps the forest?
Nobody, right?
Nobody. Why?
The animals.
Not even. I mean,
they just shit.
Like,
they just
because everything's in balance.
Okay.
Right? So all the trees, it's just balance. It's in alignment. So when you have a diverse of plants, they take care of some. So for example, if you're starting a company, right? And if you're wanting to start this big, huge company, you have to resource other things to other people because you only have a certain amount of strengths. You have to hire people who have strengths that are your weaknesses.
Of course.
And then in a company, when you have the diverse of talents and diverse of skills, that's what creates a truly successful company. A forest is the same way.
Okay.
So the more you have a diverse of plants. So for example, what we usually do is we have this monocrop. So we have tens of acres of pineapples.
Monocrop.
A monocrop is how we grow all of our food.
Okay.
So we have like acres on acres on acres of the same food.
Okay.
Right? And it brings in balance. It kills our soil. It brings in balance. And that brings the pests, because the pest knows whoever pest likes that certain food is going to all be attracted to that. And then you got to spray chemicals to get rid of the pest. And then the soil's getting shitty, so you got to spray fertilizer to get the plants to grow. But when you grow like the forest, it doesn't really do that because
there's a variety.
Yeah, because there's such a variety, right? So if a pest comes in, the other plant brings a pest that eats that pest. So nothing goes crazy. And then if something else needs a nutrient, or if something's low on nutrient, it has that fungus network under the internet that communicates and that transfers these nutrients. And like it all works together. And one is I'm planting plants that are perennials. So an annual is like something that you plant in the spring and then harvest in the fall. A perennial is like an apple tree, an orange tree. You plant it once and it lives a whole lifetime. It grows for 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, whatever. You know, like there's some plants that may only live 4 or 5 years.
So most of your plants are perennials?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. So So what I did is I just focused on the soil. I laid the mulch and then every time I have spare like fruits or vegetable scraps, I add that in to the soil to compost it.
Really?
Oh,
shit! You just throw them in there.
Yeah, dude. Everything that's like biomass, like every stick, every leaf, every eggshell, every like, bro, that's all something that feeds the earth's soil.
Yeah.
Like
it makes sense. No, it makes sense.
Like every scrap of leaf or broccoli, that all breaks down into nutrients for the soil that feeds our planet. And we are extracting all of this energy, all of these nutrients into this low quality food, and that's why like you know, we're sick, the planet's sick. But when you have really rich soil, then the food that's growing is rich with nutrients, and then when you consume that, then you're rich with life,
right?
You know, and
dude,
like,
what was I listening to yesterday? I was listening to something the other day. They were talking about how they hunted this bear, this black bear, that all it ate was blackberries. Some bear that all it ate was blackberries or blueberries, some dark berry. And when they cut it open, they filleted it open and they cut its meat, it was just this dark stained purple. And they were thinking it was because of the fucking berries it ate. All the thing ate was berries.
Huh. That's crazy.
And they were trying to correlate it back to like what you are, what you eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just super interesting.
For sure. But they're finding like, dude, all of our health is based on our gut flora. You know what I mean?
Flora?
So when you think of your gut, all those organisms, like you want to think of like a beautiful forest or a beautiful park with all of the diversity, right? The diversity of the plants, the diversity of the animals. You know, like you have a beautiful lake, you have the fish in the lake, you have the squirrels, you got the birds, you have the big plants, you got the bushes, you have the vines, you have the beautiful life. And that diversity is what's going to bring that balance, that strength of like why just like our stomach, like why I won't need a doctor to maintain my health. It's just like I won't need to tend to my garden.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing, like it's in balance. So everything does pretty good at taking care of itself. And then if some problem does show up, you stop, you observe, you learn from it, and you evolve and you keep going.
That's strong. I need to get my fucking garden going ASAP.
Dude, it's so easy. The first thing you do, call a tree company. ask them, can you dump off a load of mulch? Because that's the best thing that you could do, is start building your soil.
Okay.
And then second step, you know, the flea market on Park?
Yeah.
They sell so many awesome trees, dude. Awesome
Really?
plants,
Okay.
awesome bushes.
Hell yeah.
You'll have all these Thai people showing you fruits you never even
That's
heard
sick.
of, dude. Dude, we got jackfruit. You ever heard of jackfruit?
Yeah, I have heard of
Dude,
jackfruit. They're the fucking pointy ones, right?
Dude,
the
it's
spikes
bigger,
on them.
It's bigger than a basketball, right? Dude, it's the biggest like tree-born fruit on the planet. It's
I had no
bigger,
fucking
dude,
idea
it's
it was that big.
They get like 50, 60, 70, sometimes 80 pounds.
What?
Right? And they taste like juicy fruit. They say it's what the guy, like how he got the flavor of juicy fruit is from a jackfruit.
Really?
Yeah. But dude, they're using it to like help world hunger. Because it's so much food, and you can,
Because it'll feed so many. One fucking fruit will feed a ton of people, right?
Crazy. And
that's wild.
and bro, if you shred it up, cook it, and put some barbecue sauce on it, it tastes just like a vegan pulled pork,
You
dude.
fucking crazy motherfucker.
No.
That's insane.
I'm not a cook.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
So
Yeah.
I've never specifically done it.
Okay.
But
That's what they tell you.
dude, like they use it for like a meat substitute all the time.
Do you have a jackfruit?
I got 2 jackfruit.
Do
trees,
you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it has. They haven't started fruiting yet. I think
Okay.
my one jackfruit will start fruiting next year, and that's something that like, what makes people a little bit resistant to do it is because this type of
Patience.
thinking, you know, is like an investment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you lay all this mulch and you plant all these plants for fruits that are going to bear maybe in 2 years,
That's
maybe
not,
3
that
years.
doesn't fit in with our culture, bro.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want it now, man. I want I want Instagram. I want to swipe and get it now.
Yeah. But I think eventually when people keep learning of, you know, a better way to grow our food, eventually it's going to be that way to where you can just, okay, I want an apple, and you swipe it, and then this fresh grown apple is going to be right at your door.
Right. But
mean,
is it really going to be a fresh grown apple? It's going to be fucked up, modified in some kind of way.
I mean,
I think
hope
people
not.
have to. I think people have to change, though.
Yeah.
I think culture's gotten to a point where the pendulum's got to swing. People got to learn to be patient.
Yeah.
They got to learn that mindset of investing for long-term returns. You know, whether it be with finance or your body, whatever it is, it's a whole different way of thinking.
Dude, you're so right. And like, I mean, and the only way to start that is with us. You know what I mean? Like, we have to lead by that example. And we have to do the best we can, so then other people will, you know, hopefully see that and catch on to that. And there's always going to be people who don't give a fuck. And those are the people who are just going to most likely be consuming. You know, like they're the consumers. You know, they're just consuming things all day without much producing.
And there's so many people that are just fucking blind to it, and they don't even take the second to even stop and think. It's that fucking person speeding down the road trying to get to the grocery store on time. That's fucking, you know, flipping you the bird, going through the light because they're pissed off at themselves. They hate their lives.
Yeah, I've been that guy.
Yeah, right. So have I.
Yeah.
Just fucking angry at everybody. You fucking didn't stop at the stop sign. I'm pissed off.
And they're feeling their own suffering.
Of course they
know
are,
what I'm
but they
saying?
don't they don't get it though. They just want to blame it on everybody else.
You always get like what you made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you get what you put in. If you put out a bunch of bad energy, you're gonna feel like shit. You know, and that's something I had to learn, I guess, the hard way.
Let's talk about the stem cell shit, dude. How did you get stem cells healed your knees, basically?
Okay.
Or how did you first tell the story of how you first got into stem cell?
So the knee exploded.
Yeah.
Right. The knee exploded. That was in the summertime. I started doing the breathing. I started changing my life. I started reading. Like, bro, I never read books before because I couldn't sit down long enough to fucking read a book. Dude, I started reading Dude, my whole life changed.
You got to have a body harder than a shield and a mind sharper than a blade.
Yeah, that's right. So I began sharpening my saw.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like mentally, physically, emotionally. And then, and the fucking knee, dude, for the last 6 months of it, dude, I didn't realize how broken the leg was, but they were just giving me cortisone shots, and I was actually finishing the season. And like, dude, I was riding with this broken femur and so much pain, just causing so much more damage to my whole entire body.
Yeah.
But I was breathing through all this, like learning dude, I was learning so much through all of this, like just, and then they finally went in and said, look, we got to fix this thing. So they did this microfracture surgery, which I kind of regret doing at this point.
Microfracture surgery?
So essentially they took a drill and they exploded the rest of my knee and broke everything to pieces in hopes that it's going to regrow back. And then same thing like me, I was supposed to like stay off it for like 6 months. I started racing and training in like 3, and I went to this race in Paris. And dude, it was awful, dude. I couldn't even walk through the airport without pain, where I was just like, dude, this pain was not going away, but I also wasn't stopping my training yet. You know, like I started changing everything in my life, but it was one habit after another. You know, I did the fast, I was doing the breathing, and that's when I started realizing that, hey, I got to stop living for myself and start living for other people. And then when I went to Europe, that's what got me into video of like, look, if like I created this whole plan of like how I'm going to use what I have to keep evolving what I have and to use that to help and to contribute to the world. And one thing I understood was video. So I just like, dude, I didn't know how to get my computer on the internet. I didn't know how to check my fucking emails. I didn't know how to work a camera, but I told myself, dude, I'm going all in on video. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to start making videos. I'm going to take everything that I'm doing that's helping me and create it into some content that can help other people.
Document it, right?
Exactly. And I'm going to keep pushing myself to keep learning. And the more I learn, the more I can video to help other people. And if I'm running out of material to create, then I'm not pushing myself enough.
Right.
You know, so then, but then, dude, my knee, dude, my whole body was starting to feel great, but this pain in my knee just wasn't going away. Really? You know, like it kept telling me, look, that pain, I have more to learn. I haven't learned my lesson quite yet. So then, somebody I knew talked to somebody who did stem cells. My manager brought me in, and I met the guy, and I said, dude, I got nothing to lose, man. Dude, let's try this stem cell. And then, I did the stem cells, and that's when he gave me like, look, you can't do nothing, dude. If you really want this to heal, you can't leave your house for like 8-9 months.
So where did you end up getting the stem cell therapy at? I mean, I know people
from Dr. Locke's right there in Clearwater.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought the last time I talked to somebody who did that, they were going to Mexico and doing it.
Yeah, that's, dude, I think that's a whole different, like they're getting, like I know there's different types of stem cells.
Okay.
Like the stem cell that I used was actually from my own body. Like I'm a young, healthy person. Dude, they took it like straight from like my pelvis.
For people who don't
like
know, explain
back.
what is stem cell? What is a stem cell?
So we all have these kind of like stem cells that are in our body. Those are the guys that are in your body working at healing and rebuilding cells and regenerating shit, right? They're like super construction workers,
right?
You know, that always helping to heal your body. And we have those all throughout our body, and we have a lot of it like in our pelvis, you know, like of course where that energy system is, like right into our main part of our whole body. And they can harvest them straight from there, and they inject it right into the trouble spot, and it's like injecting these super construction workers to help rebuild all the shit that's going or all the shit that went wrong.
How do they extract specifically the stem cells?
A big ass needle in it.
What?
Bro. So like the first time, like it was all
like
numb.
a steroid needle, fucking big, thick,
bigger,
fucking,
bro.
really?
Like this big.
What?
Dude. Yeah, like 2 feet long.
Fuck
I mean,
that.
I don't know if it was, maybe it was a foot. I don't know. It looked big. I
Damn, dude.
Yeah. But like the first time I was numb, I didn't feel it, but I did 2 sessions. And the second time, I don't know if he missed the numbing or he went deeper or like what happened, but I mean, I've never been raped, but dude, I felt like, dude,
no lube.
My skin went white. Like, dude, I'm sweating. Like it felt like there was something somewhere it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Because dude, it's like deep, like, and they go in from like your lower back, but they pulled it out and they put it right in my knee. And I'll be 100% honest, it did help, but it didn't heal my knee.
Really?
It didn't heal my knee because check this out. If you have any problem, right? And if you have that problem of whatever caused that problem, but if you just go to a doctor and they give you this pill or this surgery or whatever that's going to help with that problem, if you don't fix or understand what originally caused that problem to begin with, that problem is just going to come back in 2 to 3 years in however way.
Right, there's no just like miracle that's going to happen.
So for example, if I had these joint pains in my body, all right, so say if you go to get stem cells because you have a bad shoulder or if you have a bad knee, right? Those stem cells will inject these super construction workers in your body to help rebuild your shit, right? But if you keep using your shoulder or your knee in the exact same way, long term, the exact same shit's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen over.
Yeah, exactly. So this pain in your body is meant to be learned from. That's your body trying to speak to you. That's your body screaming. So stop and try to listen what it's trying to say. And that's what I did, because dude, I was stuck in my house for almost a year. Where like he put me on a step counter, right? I had 4,000 steps a day. It was pretty much just enough to wake up, piss, shit, feed myself, walk in the backyard, breathe, and meditate. And
4,000 steps.
Yeah, if I went to the grocery store and got food, I would go over my steps and I would be in a lot of pain.
Damn, dude.
So, dude, I was stuck in my house for like almost a year, bro, of just breathing, watching my yard grow, because everything was already planted, just breathing in my yard, watching it grow, reading book after book after book. And then I got this sketchbook and I started creating this plan of like, oh, when I can walk again, because there was a time where these doctors were telling me I was never going to be able to like walk or run or jump again without pain, so I started just creating this whole plan of like, hey, this is my second chance, dude, of like this, realizing it's not all about me, but what can I use what I have to help other people. Yeah. And then so I started changing everything, from the way I thought, from the way I moved, and changing the way I moved and changing the way I thought is really what did it.
So they injected these stem cells into your knee. And what was the process? Like, what did you have to do after that? Like, what did the stem cells actually do? Like, how did that help?
So, all right, so check this out. So for most people, they go in, they get the stem cells injected in like a week or two. They're feeling fucking great. Right. Because they're sitting at their desk all day. Yeah. They're not doing much. But I don't want a normal life, dude. I want to be extraordinary, dude. Like, I wanted to have that extra of like, I plan on going back and racing professionally. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that was my goal, and still is, to race professionally on my bike, and then not only be a professional athlete now, but when I'm 50, I want to be climbing fucking mountains, my dude.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
That's your problem. If you're not thinking that way, then
I want to be as physically fit as possible, like being able to use my body and use my mind until the end. And I knew if I didn't change everything right then, from changing from the way I moved, from the way I thought, then I wasn't going to have that. And then I started meeting with like the smartest physical therapists I could find, and like finding like there's these guys from California called Move You, who are like the smartest people I ever find, of just like teaching you how to move and use your body properly.
Move You?
Move You.
Okay.
Like MOVE, then the letter U.com. Like, dude, they worked with Antonio Brown when he got hurt. But
really?
Like, dude, they were doctors, like physical therapists, chiropractors. Dude, they did everything, and they realized, it's not fucking healing people. It's not working. Like, it's just a bullshit trying to sell you this procedure that it's just going to put you in the same place. Yeah. So this program like literally teaches you how to breathe, how to use your shoulders, how to use your body, and gives you all these exercises to realign everything. And like, I tell anyone if they have any back pain or shoulder pain or knee pain to check out these guys, because like that's
interesting.
That was stronger than the stem cells.
Really?
Because it changed the way I moved. You know what I mean? Like, it taught me to connect with myself and to connect with my movement, to be aware of how I was using my body, of what was bringing me to this pain, of what was causing my shit to break down. And if it's breaking down, it means it's not in alignment. It's not in balance. So that program taught me taught me what muscles were too tight and what muscles were too weak, and how to strengthen those muscles, and how to move and use my body, and how to use my feet. Like, I was never connected with my feet or my breath or anything like that. Right. But that's so important.
How did you learn how did you like digest the program? Did you go to California?
I bought it.
Is it like something you can download? And
so like they have like this web, just moveyou.com.
Okay.
And
they have videos and shit.
Dude, it's like the best program I've ever seen. Dude, really? And they're not paying me in any way. Like, I actually paid them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That says a lot about them.
Yeah, dude. And I've listened, and I've been studying fitness and health my whole life. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like, I haven't found anything almost as good as these guys. There's a guy named Ido Portal. Like, have you ever heard of him?
No.
Ido Portal, he's like the number one dude with movement. Okay. Like, Wim Hof is like the guy with the breath and the ice, and this guy's the guy with the movement. Okay. But like, Move You these guys are just teaching you how to fix your shit.
Really?
You know, because all of us are out of a line. We're having these back pains, these shoulder pains, these neck pains, because we're just sitting in cars, sitting with this bad posture. It's showing you that your posture and the way you sit and the way you use your body in your daily movement, it's not that this certain crash caused that injury. That might have been, you know, was like the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, right? You know, but it's the everyday tiny little movements that chip away at our body.
Yeah, for sure.
That if we're not using and moving our body properly, then it's chipping instead of rehabilitating. You know, but if we know how to use our body, just like if we know how to use our minds, then every movement that we're doing becomes strengthening instead of like degenerating.
Yeah,
you know?
I learned that recently, like with my fucking lower back, that I've really like never. I don't use my core enough, so I like learned to like I've been doing like a lot of like different things to strengthen my core, and like I realize how that fucking changes your lower back.
Sure.
And
Dude,
that with like rolling out the legs and shit. I never thought about that.
Dude, I'm still doing this program today.
Really?
Like, oh, dude, because I have this time off with my current shoulder injury now.
Yeah, right.
You know, I crashed like a month ago.
Yeah.
Dude, BMX is going great. Got my knees healed. You know, jumping to the story. Like,
that's
dude,
crazy that you've been doing BMX for so long too.
Yeah, dude. And like after the move you and like, dude, after like the physical therapy, like, I mean, it's still, dude, my knee, it's just my one knee. It's still getting stronger every day, but
really?
Dude, it feels fucking amazing.
That's awesome,
like,
dude.
Dude, it just, finally I can walk without pain. I can jump. I can, dude. And just like the past month or two, I've really been able to start running. Bro, I haven't been able to run without pain in years since I was like 23, bro. Like, and now like I'm able to use my body so much more. And, dude, the stem cells helped, but the Move You is what taught me how to do it. You know, and now I'm waiting for this surgery to fix my shoulder. Like, I'm actually doing more of the program now to get my body ready to go into a surgery.
How long do you think you're gonna do BMX for?
Shit, I'll probably be riding my bike till I die, man.
Do you think there's any? is there like a transition after? I mean, obviously, so the BMX that we're talking about right now is when you start on a big hill and you basically go around like a motocross track, right? That's like what you see in like dirt bike races, but it's on a bicycle.
Exactly.
Have you ever thought about transitioning out of that into a different kind of bike racing?
Dude, I'm a BMXer, man. I love
that's
BMX.
So you're stuck. You're sticking to that.
I love riding bikes, dude, and like I just love riding bikes, man.
Okay,
for sure. Like
what about like the fucking downhill shit where they're in the woods and
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Have you ever tried it?
I did a mountain bike race before it, dude. It was fun. Like, I love bikes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, I just love being outside, hanging out with my friends, doing anything like physically active. You know, I started BMX when I was younger, and that's what got me hooked. You know, I've been doing it forever, and now like I have this new passion of just like, you know, the art of mastery, of just like falling in love with the process of learning new, you know. And then after coming back like of this new reborn self, is like I never enjoyed BMX more, because before I just started BMX because I was trying to make myself look cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I only started BMX and continued to race BMX to make myself seem awesome and to be great and to build up this ego of mine. And then when I lost all that during those injuries, now I love BMX more than ever, because it's not, you know, I'm not doing it to look cool, but I'm just falling in love with the process of learning and bettering myself. Yeah. You know, it's not so much about crushing the dude next to me, but just bettering myself from yesterday.
Yeah. Do you ever take any mushrooms or DMT?
Fuck yeah.
You do?
I mean,
you're talking about like the ego stuff, and then everyone talks about like I've never done DMT or mushrooms, but I'm too much of a pussy.
So maybe I've never done DMT, but I mean, I had a couple mushrooms here and there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But like,
when did you start doing that? Like, when was the first time you did it? Was it at what point in your...
Dude, the first time I ever did mushrooms was only like probably a year and a half ago.
Really?
A year ago. Yeah. Last time was last weekend.
Dude, I eat a fucking weed gummy and I feel like I'm tripping on mushrooms.
Dude, that's the best.
I love.
Dude, like, honestly, like I never even like smoked weed too much up until like all this started happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, I first started smoking a little bit of weed, and then all of a sudden, like, I started feeling my body a little bit more, to where, like, dude, I got all these tight muscles. That's where all this pain is coming from. And then, but really, like, nothing has been better than the breathing.
Really?
You know, like, because I can get to these higher states with my breath. We all can.
Yeah.
We all can get to these higher states with our breath and like go into such a deeper part, get all those lights and get all that craziness just with our breath. And the consistency of doing that every single day is what helped me, you know, but like, you know, maybe one day on mushrooms is good. Again, a nice glimpse of what's possible. You know what I mean? And like, it just, I remember like the first time I ate mushrooms, I got to really see how the whole environment is really connected.
How much did you take?
Not enough.
Do you remember how many grams it was?
Maybe 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
3.
I'm trying to figure out for my first time I do it.
You know, but I mean, like, there was a couple times, you know, I threw like a gram or so in them super smoothies, you know.
Oh yeah,
having a good day.
Yeah, they talk about, like, a lot of people talk about microdosing, like especially like in Silicon Valley, how those guys they microdose on LSD and mushrooms
so much quicker. Because you're building all these crazy connections. You know, like you're able to lower your ego, and your ego just gets in the way, and it makes you think in all of this like separateness and your somebodyness, you know. But when you're on like mushrooms or even weed, it helps to diminish your ego so you can see how everything is just really one and we're all connected and we're all in this together. You know what I mean? Like just how we have like billions of different organisms in our body, we are just one of those billions of different organisms in the earth body. We're all sitting here trying to work towards the same goal of the health and the happiness of this earth and this planet. You know what I'm saying? Like we just may not realize it, but we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking for the same thing, and it's all connected. You know? So it's like, it's fucking sweet.
That is fucking sweet, dude.
You know, it's not like I'm telling you to go out there and do some mushrooms, but sometimes it helps, dude. Like,
but go out there and do some mushrooms.
No, like, dude, I hear people, they're using mushrooms for everything now, dude. Like, I'm really starting to think and I'm not talking about just psychedelics.
It's legal in Colorado now, right?
Dude, they're using like the psychedelic mushrooms to help with like PTSD, addiction, all that stuff.
For sure.
Like, you're able to drop your old self and to just build these new connections, but like not just psychedelic mushrooms. Fungus and mushroom itself is like, I believe there's so much more to it than we believe. Like, we're realizing that, dude, the biggest living organism that we've ever found on this planet is a microbiome, like, you know, like a fungus network in the Northwest, from like, you know, Canada all the way down to Northern California, you know, that whole forest. It's just one big microorganism of this fungi network of, you know, what I was talking about earlier of that microbiome. And that's like, they're finding that everything is kind of like the start and the end for mushrooms. You know? And if you look at mushrooms like in a forest, it's kind of like the portal to break down what's dying to feed to life that's coming. You know, and then when I take mushrooms, like even the psychedelic ones, I kind of feel like it's breaking down all that dead waste shit to bring room for new life in my mind. And even like the regular like portobello mushrooms that you eat, you know, they help break down the old shit in your body. You know, they help with your brain health and everything. I'm not talking about the psychedelics, like just the regular.
Like, regular ones you buy at the grocery store.
Exactly. Like, I think mushrooms is definitely something that humans are just beginning to scratch the surface of, untapping the potential of what we can do.
For
like,
sure.
I think we can replace plastic, concrete, everything with mushrooms. You know, like everything that we're using and making that's kind of killing the planet, from like what we build our houses with, from like all the plastic. Like, I think the technology is far, like, not quite there yet, but it's possible to use like some sort of the fungus family to do everything that we need. Because it's way more advanced than we are.
I did one of those float tank things yesterday.
Ooh, those are yesterday?
For the first time ever.
That's sweet. How
for
was
the first time in my life. It was cool. It wasn't like one of the legit float tanks. It was one in St. Pete, and it wasn't like, because it wasn't one of those like round orbs. They were like, oh yeah, it's bigger. It's kind of like a big shower, but it gets pitch black, and they put 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in there. And I felt really great, but it was pitch black, and I wish I would have fucking ate a weed gummy first.
Dude, when I did it, I ate a big brownie, and
Nothing?
Well, I think it'd be better just to go in there normal.
Really?
Honestly, yeah.
See, I did a normal, and I felt like it could have been cooler.
Do it again.
Maybe I should
try both.
Yeah, I'm gonna try, but I'm definitely gonna try them both.
Try
but
both.
It was definitely a good experience. I mean, I needed like the salt bath either way. Like I had so much fucking like lactic acid and shit built up in me that I just needed that just to get those toxins out. But It was definitely a cool experience.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely want to try it again,
dude. And it's so cool how, like, you know, the more people are like struggling with certain things, you know, the more people are creating new opportunities to help with that. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these new things that are starting to coming and becoming more popular, from float tanks, from yoga to meditation, to where, like, in the 90s, if you talked about meditation, you were like crazy, like, or who's this guy? What are you, like a Buddhist or something? You know what I'm saying? But now, like, because so many of us are struggling with these mental health issues, like, now meditation is getting popular. It's
definitely cool now. Meditation and yoga has definitely gotten a lot cooler, a lot more accepted in the mainstream.
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
It should be too.
It's working.
Yeah,
like, dude, it's working, and it's making us feel better, happier, healthier, stronger. And dude, the more happier, healthier, stronger one of us is, the more happier, healthier, stronger we all can be.
It's funny. I was having just a talk yesterday with this lady at YouTube who I talk to every once in a while, like, that talks about, like, how to, like, to optimize, like, your channel, or try to, like, you know, help you grow your channel more, and with, like, the content that you're creating. And she helps, like, strategize different shows, like, different, like, types of content that I make or whatever, and how we optimize it. And we were talking about CPMs, you know, like CPM based on, like, your video. So CPMs, it's cost per milli. Basically, it's like your ad revenue per 1,000 views of your content. So every 1,000 views, you make X amount of dollars based on the amount of revenue you make from YouTube. And I was asking, like, what's the highest? Because obviously there's different types of content that make more money, because certain advertisers will target that type of content.
And fitness, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, no, well, there's health. There's lots of different, like, categories. I think one of the biggest ones is, like, the makeup tutorials, because it's so easy for those companies to target them. And I was asking her, I'm like, what's the highest paying CPM out of all the types of content that you've noticed, or, like, the top category that makes the highest amount of ad revenue? And she was saying that it's, like, personal finance gurus, people that teach finance, or, like, teach wealth, that kind of shit, like, people that are looking to get rich. And I was like, what the fuck? And because I've noticed just so many people out there, especially on the internet, that are, like, trying to be gurus of, like, finance or personal wealth, that
they're 21 years old, living in their mama's basement.
Yeah, well, not necessarily that, but they just create content about that because they know it's what the culture wants. You know what I mean? They're not doing it because that's what they're good at, or that's what they've done their whole life. They're doing it. It's kind of just like a degenerative cycle of, they're creating that kind of entertainment because they know it makes money, and that kind of reinforces what's in the culture. People just they want to chase money. They see somebody with a fancy fucking car, they see somebody with a Lamborghini or a big house, they think, oh my God, I want to be just like this person. You know what I mean? It's like it's something that's in our culture right now that reflects,
but I think, like,
onto the internet.
People who consume their thinking and their energy with that, they get theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of what we're talking about before, is like, people who consume their thinking in, like, not in good alignment, if it's just out of alignment or in a bad place, then they're miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when someone is firing on all cylinders, they feel good, they're happy, they're nice, you know what I mean? They're nice to people, they have a good energy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's when we're going to be at our most successful as well. For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the fuck I was getting at by bringing that up, but I guess it's very relevant to, like, being lopsided in what you're doing. Just like you said, you could have a muscle imbalance somewhere, but if you really focus on just fucking making that money, getting that dollar, you know what I mean, you're gonna neglect so much other important shit.
It's gonna bring pain, you know what I mean, in some way. It's gonna bring some pain or suffering, like, if you're just pursuing the money, you know, like, even if the pain is the disappointment of, because most of the times if you're just pursuing the money, you'll end up either broke or miserable. You know what I'm saying? But then if you align making that money with some sort of value, connecting it with your specific strengths, and, like, how you can create that value to contribute to the world, or having something that someone's going to pay for, you know, it's obviously bringing value in some way, because money is just an exchange of value. You know what I'm saying? So if you can create something with your gifts that someone actually wants to buy, that's when you're going to kind of have your cake and eat it too, where, you know, like, the money falls into place if you just focus on bringing the value with, you know, the things that you enjoy doing, or the things you care about.
Yeah, definitely. Tell everybody where they can, like, find, you got a YouTube channel, you make a lot of content on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, that, other than, like, pushing myself mentally and physically to try to find my best self. Like I use most of my extra time and energy to like creating content, and it's all funneled really through my website. So like my Instagram, my Twitter, my YouTube, all of the content that I create for that is also on my website, which is www.thewillgrant.com. But if you just want to go to YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, just type in my name, Will Grant, and I should show up.
Just WILLGRANT.
Yep.
They'll find all your stuff.
Yes, sir.
Learn how to get better, learn how to eat well, learn how to work out, learn how to be fast.
Absolutely. Let's push each other together to find our best selves and create the best world we can.
I love it, dude. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and
dude, thanks for having me.
Letting my audience absorb what you have to give, and let's definitely do this shit again, dude.
Yeah,
This was awesome.
Sure. Sounds good, man.
Hell
Thank
yeah,
you
bro.
so much.